I've always dreamt of making computer games ever since I was a child. As a kid, I used to play games and always found ways they could be improved. However, as I grew older, I went to university and completed a master's degree in philology, eventually becoming an editor for a web magazine. Despite this, my dream of becoming a game developer never faded. I simply didn't know where to start or which direction to take. The thought of quitting my stable, full-time job with a steady salary terrified me. I kept thinking about all the potential ways I could fail, and these thoughts paralyzed me. Yet, at the same time, I could physically feel this persistent itch, the need to give my dream a chance. Hello everyone, my name is Yaroslav and I'm a game developer from Ukraine. In today's video, I'll share with you how I decided to pursue my dream and finally become an indie game developer, just as I had always wanted since I was a kid. I'm nearly 40 years old now, and for over past 10 years I have been creating games full-time as an indie game developer. However, the decision to take this leap of faith and leave my stable job was far from easy. So how did I muster the courage to do it? Before I dive into this story, let me show you the project that I am working on today. It's a mobile game called Orgs, and it's my own response as a developer to the Russian invasion into my country. The game is already published and is available for iOS and Android platforms. I would be really grateful if you give it a try. You'll find the links in the description to this video. Now let's return to the story of how I became a full-time indie game developer. At the beginning of 2012, I participated in one-week flash game contest and managed to secure third place. Not only did my game When I Was Young win a prize in the contest, but it also sold successfully, earning me more money than my full-time job at that time. I talked about the story behind When I Was Young in my previous video, so if you're interested, feel free to click the link in the top right corner and watch it. Long story short, I proved to myself that not only could my hobby be profitable, but it could also generate more income than my main job. Still, I wasn't sure if it was just a stroke of luck or if I would be able to replicate this success with my next game. At that time, I was already working on my next ambitious strategy game for 3 months, so I made a promise to myself that if I could finish this significant project within a year or so, and it earned me at least as much as my main job, I would quit my job to become a full-time indie game developer. The game I'm referring to is called Symbiosis, and I started working on it in August 2011. My goal was to create a game in the popular tower defense genre while incorporating the mechanics of galcon, where players capture enemy bases such as planets, castles or islands by sending units from their own bases. The initial prototype of Symbiosis was extremely basic. It revolved around the idea that alien crystals had arrived from deep space to annihilate humanity. Conventional weapons proved ineffective against the invaders, and Earth's nature emerged as the only force capable of resisting the ruthless crystal threat. Therefore, the primary objective for players was to destroy enemy crystals by utilizing the power of plants. It took approximately 3 to 4 months of development and multiple iterations of gameplay design changes to arrive at a refined mechanic and an engaging gameplay experience. Each time I wanted to try a new feature or gameplay mechanic, I would create a new folder and copy all the game files into it. In the final version of the game, players had the ability to strategically control the battle by planting trees on the game field and adjusting their states to growth, attack or defense. Additionally, plants could significantly enhance the stats of their allies through a special Symbiosis ability. However, the donor of Symbiosis would sacrifice all its defense and attack stats. On the other hand, crystals would also spawn around the battlefield, shifting between different states to efficiently destroy trees. The spawn rate of crystals would increase over time. While developing the game, I also decided to implement a flexible system of difficulty settings to enhance the fun factor and replayability. Players could adjust the difficulty before starting any of the 15 levels, increasing enemy health, attack power, and defense. By doing so, they could strive to unlock achievements that were only attainable at higher difficulty settings. Successful completion of each level rewarded players with experience and skill points based on the chosen difficulty and unlocked achievements. These skill points could be utilized to learn special abilities and even spells, making it possible to conquer further levels at higher difficulties. The game concept appeared ideal to me, but challenges arose when I began implementing it. Gameplay issues became evident when it became too easy to defend and nearly impossible to launch attacks at a certain point in the game. This led to an endless loop of planting trees, with neither the player nor the enemy able to defeat each other. To address this issue, I devised the concept of special zones on the map that could be captured by either player or enemy, increasing the starting level and growth speed of the owner, ultimately ensuring victory. Overcoming the endless loop problem motivated me to continue the development process. However, this burst of motivation wasn't unlimited. The next challenge hit me when I started working on additional levels in April 2012. Suddenly, I realized that the gameplay of Symbiosis wasn't as enjoyable as I initially envisioned. It wasn't so obvious while I had tested and refined the mechanics using only 3 prototype levels, but the more levels I added, the more evident the need for further improvement became. That's when I came up with the idea that the fire rate of both plants and crystals should depend on the distance between them. The shorter the distance, the higher the fire rate. This addition injected more strategic elements into the gameplay and unlocked new possibilities for creating exciting levels. After this realization, I primarily focused on creating actual graphics for the Symbiosis game, as I had previously used placeholder graphics. Finally, in November 2012, the game was ready. The only remaining task was to upload it to the Flash Game License portal to find a sponsor. Since I was developing Symbiosis as a side project, while working a full-time job with a 2-hour commute, the actual time I spent creating it wasn't as extensive as it may seem. I would dedicate a few hours every evening after work and utilize most of my weekends to make progress on the game development. However, there were times when fatigue or desire to spend more time with my family led me to do nothing for the game. Looking back, I can confidently say that while the entire development process took me over a year, I could have completed it in 4 to 5 months if it had been my only job. Now, let's discuss the most interesting part, the game revenue. After being on the Flash Game License portal for almost a month, Symbiosis received multiple bids from various sponsors. The highest bid came from Armor Games, a popular game portal that is still active today. They offered $8,000. Additionally, since Symbiosis achieved a score of over 8 out of 10 on the sponsor's side, Daniel, the owner of Armor Games, decided to provide an extra $1,000 as a score bonus. Furthermore, an additional $150 was paid for implementing Armor Games advertisements into the game's main menu. In total, I received $9,150 from the sponsor. 2 weeks after releasing on Armor Games, I also uploaded Symbiosis to the Congregate game portal and received $250 as one of the winners of Congregate's monthly game contest. In addition, I earned $710 from revenue shares through Congregate's on-page advertisements. Finally, I received another $130 from in-game advertisements. The total revenue for my fourth game amounted to $10,240, which was more than double what I earned from my full-time job during the same time period. As promised to myself, I finally quit my editor job to pursue creating games as a full-time indie developer. For the first months after the release, Symbiosis amassed more than 1 million plays on different game portals. Recently, out of curiosity, I decided to check Kongregate's statistics and was amazed to find out that the number of plays on this portal alone had reached an impressive 700,000. The owner of Kongregate reached me a few weeks after the release to suggest adding special badges to the game that not every game receives. That wraps up the beginning of my indie game developer career, guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe button, as I'll strive to publish even more content like this. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.